What's up, everybody? What's going on? What is good? We are checking in here, and this is the uh, July 19th, 2021 episode of the Boxing Source Radio Show. We got a busy show here this time around. We are going to be talking about, a few good topics here, particularly, what happened on Saturday night. We're going to, go through that. Um, and we're also gonna talk about a few other boxing topics there, of course, within the Twitter world or the social media atmosphere. There's been a lot of talk back and forth, as usual, when it comes to the sport of boxing. So we will be getting into that here in this particular podcast. But um the main focus here for this particular show is, of course, the main event that was on Saturday night, that was live on Showtime in San Antonio, AT&T Center. You had the undisputed super welterweight title on the line, as you had Jermell Charlo going up against Brian Carlos Castano. You had Brian Carlos Castano coming into that particular bout with an unbeaten record. He had the one draw to Erislandy Lara, a couple of years ago. Was a split draw. Was supposed to be for, version of that super welterweight title, and he wasn't able to get it. Some people thought he won that particular fight against Erislandy Lara, but then he turned around and had a fight later that year against Wally Omatoso over in the Washington D.C. area. Something that I was able to attend. Had a very good performance there against Omatoso. Was able to stop Omatoso within 5 rounds. Even though Omatoso had injured his shoulder, there wasn't really that much that Omatoso was able to do to keep Castano off of him. So he moved on from that fight, got himself in the position to become the top contender for the WBO super welterweight title, and was able to get a fight against Patrick Teixeira earlier this year, and was something where he clearly outworked Patrick Teixeira. Somebody there that was able to do he did very well against Patrick Teixeira in order to capture that WBO super welterweight title. So that pretty much set him up for this bout against Jermell Charlo, who was unified champion. Of course, he had the WBC version of the super welterweight title. Had that his first loss by decision too. He had the loss by decision to Tony Harrison. Close fight. Lost to Tony Harrison. And eventually had the rematch against Tony Harrison and was able to stop Tony Harrison to get that WBC belt back. Then, last year he had the pay-per-view with the unification fight against, at the time, the WBA and IBF champion, Jason Rosario. Was able to stop him with a jab to the body there to become unified champ. And that set this up. Undisputed title fight. First there at the 154-pound division with all 4 belts on the line there. So, and, it was something that, a lot of people were looking forward to in this particular bout. Those that, were really following both of these guys. Castano with his, background, before getting into professional ranks, and the level of competition that he was having up to this particular point, kind of like position him up to this level. And of course, Jermell Charlo had the, of course, the resume there at 154 pounds, pretty much facing almost everybody there at 154 pounds, with the exception of, probably a couple of people, but, still a very, very highly rated resume that he had. Of course, he had the win over Jason Rosario. He had the, that first round knockout of Erickson Lubin, at one point. Of course, those 2 fights against Tony Harrison. So and also win over Austin Trout. So that was probably one of the better resumes, not just in the 154-pound division, but probably within all of boxing, that you could face as many guys that were up there as far as like the top 5 and top 10 there at 154 pounds before even fighting Brian Carlos Castano. So very, very good matchup that was going to be happening on Saturday. And for many, they pretty much got what they wanted and more there. Leading into the fight, both fighters had their initial sayings about what they were going to do, and how they were feeling in camp and all of that. If you all caught the press conference, like Castano was talking about, maybe he'll kind of like tone down the level of his activity a little bit just to see if he could get more power behind his punches. And Jermell Charlo talking about he had a tremendous camp and that he was in tip-top shape and was ready to go going up against Brian Carlos Castano. And one of the things that people were kind of like pointing out too was the height disparity and the reach disparity between the two. But Brian Carlos Castano had fought someone pretty much around that same height and reach in his previous opponent in Patrick Teixeira, but he did say that Jermell Charlo is a completely different type of opponent than Patrick Teixeira was. I thought that was pretty good coming in. That he says that I'm not gonna go off what I did in the last fight to see if it will work here against Jermell Charlo, and that's pretty much what we got in those first few rounds. Was that both of these guys were measuring each other. Jermell Charlo was mainly fighting off his back foot, and Castano was looking for openings there to throw a lot of combinations on the inside like he usually does with the amount of his activity. And you did see that at one particular point in the first round where he was trying to work in, throw about 3 or 4 punches while in close, while Charlo was back to the ropes. But then in the second round, when he was doing that, he did get caught with a good counter shot from Jermell Charlo, and had Castano backed up for a little bit. Jermell Charlo looked like he was trying to blitz Castano at that particular point, and it almost reminded me of the second fight that Jermell Charlo had with Tony Harrison, where Tony Harrison was doing fairly well early, but then when he came up close, that's when he got caught with a punch up close that had him be knocked down. But here Castano didn't necessarily get knocked down in that particular round, that second round. But moving through this fight, for me, what I was seeing there, particularly for those first 5 or 6 rounds, was more of Brian Carlos Castano measuring what Jermell Charlo was doing. And one of the things that I did see that he was doing is, I thought he did a very good job of either one, encountering what Jermell Charlo was doing, number one, particularly since Jermell Charlo was kind of throwing the jab a lot. He was throwing the jab a lot, and he was just throwing it while he was backing up. And also, timing the lead right hand. Brian Castano was really, really sharp with that lead right hand, and you saw him land that constantly over the course of this particular fight. And I thought that kind of stood out, that he was not only able to back Jermell Charlo up, but he was able to kind of set up that either that lead right hand or kind of feint and throw the right hand, and also connect with the left hook. And I think that from, I would say, round 4 to round 7, you really saw Brian Carlos Castano be very successful with that lead right hand. and that you really didn't have much of an answer coming from Jermell Charlo from an activity standpoint. It looked like he was still, doing the same thing about, just throwing a single jab, while you had Brian Castano throwing 3 or 4 punches at a time, or at least, leading with that right hand and then coming across with the left hook. And, I just felt like he did, better than I would say some people would have expected. But for like I said, coming into this particular bout, I knew that it was going to, be somewhat close. But not only the thing that I kind of like seen from Brian Carlos Castano landing very well with that lead right hand, when he was in the inside, I didn't really see Jermell Charlo kind of like doing very well with counter punches. He was throwing some counter shots, but it looked like he was just looking for one particular shot, whether it would be, a right hook or a left hook, and after about like I would say 6 or 7 rounds or so, while watching it live on Showtime, I was like, where's the uppercut from Jermell Charlo? You know, uppercut, it was one of his big punches that he was able to land very successfully against multiple opponents that he's had. If y'all knew that, we had something there against, Jason Rosario and against, Erickson Lubin, where he was able to land well with the uppercut. But I did not see that punch being thrown at all there from Jermell Charlo for a majority of that particular fight. And when it was like going into like round 8 and round 9, I felt like, Brian Castano had a pretty comfortable lead, right? Going into, those 8th and 9th rounds. And usually in those like 8th and 9th rounds, you kind of like seen, if you were watching on Showtime, like I said, you went on Jermell Charlo's corner. You had Coach Derek James there trying to, push Jermell Charlo to do, better, not to fight off that back foot, kind of like be stationary and throwing the jab and trying to throw, that right hand. And he started to do that a little bit more in the 8th and 9th round. But it wasn't like as forceful as it was going into the 10th round. So you still had Castano, kind of like doing this thing. It wasn't like the amount of activity that he did in his previous fights, like throwing, over 100 punches around or whatever it was. But it was something where, he was still active and he was still effective in what he was doing. And you didn't really see much of what was going on from Jermell Charlo until about late in the 9th. And then in the 10th, where, he kind of like seen him be more towards not backing to the ropes, but trying to stay in the center of the ring, throwing that left jab, and then following with the right hand. And then in the 10th round, he was able to, land one of those right hands and get Castano there in a little bit of trouble. And, that was like the majority of that 10th round. He was able to do that. And so, he definitely took that 10th round. He tried to press the action there in the 11th round as well. I thought it would have been something that he could have done earlier. Being a bigger guy, a stronger guy. I mean, of course, some people think that he's there at 154, but he probably walks around like 168 or something. So, maybe he would have probably been around 164 at fight night. Who knows? But you kind of like seeing the size disparity between those two. And I would have thought that, that would have happened there. Real quick, big ups to everybody that's tuning in live, checking in here for this particular podcast. Like I said, this thing is live, usually on Sundays and Mondays through YouTube. But if y'all miss the live section, then we have it, of course, on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and even on iHeartRadio. So shout out to everybody that's listening in live right now. But back into it, right, with this Charlo Castano joint, right? Now, Charlo, once again, was pressing the action. He had his coach, Derek James, there, around that, 11th and 12th round. He was talking about, hey, man, I don't know, man. Looking like you might need a knockdown or a knockout to win. you're gonna have to do something. You're gonna have to show me something, because it's not it's not looking good enough. But he was able to press the action there in those final few rounds, and you had of course, the 12th round that both guys were able to try to get things going and get things in, and then it went through all 12 rounds, and then of course we saw the scorecards, and you had 114, 113, there for Brian Castano. You had 117, 111 for Jamel Charlo, and Tim Cheatham had the fight even, 114, 114. So it was a split draw there. So there is no undisputed 154-pound champion there. Want to get in some quick reactions here. First off, I got to get my guy in here, Lefty. Lefty's checking in here real quick, and also the president of the Deontay Wilder fan club, Mr. Matthew Brown, is checking in here live. What's going on, folks?
Wow, I am so excited, JR. After 15 months, 16 months, finally, fight week is here. Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. July 24th. This is so exciting, man. Aren't you excited? Oh, that's right. That's right. That punk ass bitch from the UK got the sniffles. Got a bad case of the sniffles.
Oh,
and now he can't fight.
Oh, that's what you're calling it now.
The sniffles.
After you had a case of it.
I did.
Matt was on his deathbed.
That's how I know he ain't really have it.
Well, I mean, we'll get into that here in a little bit, man. But there was one thing that in the immediate reaction to that the scorecards being read by Jimmy Lennon Jr. You did kind of like make a little statement on Twitter that I didn't necessarily completely count, because it didn't actually happen the way that you probably wanted it to happen.
What I said? What I said, JR? Come on, man.
Listen, you said that all enemies of the bomb squad
yes
must suffer.
Yes.
But he didn't quite suffer.
Oh, he did. Because look at him now. His favorite fighter, Canelo, the one that he wants to be his boyfriend so badly, his favorite fighter, Canelo, messaged Brian Castano. He didn't message Charlo. And now this media that was loving MAGA Charlo for speaking out on Deontay Wilder, this same media is turning on him. And I love it.
Oh, you mean like Terrence Crawford?
Yeah. Everybody
no, Crawford's situation was different, though. He spoke ill about Crawford on a separate situation. So that was different. Crawford had every right to come back at him the way he did.
What about Mike Coppinger?
Oh, yeah, he's a fool.
Oh, I don't, man. Was it Mike Coppinger or was it
No, wait.
Boy?
Wait, let me tell you one worse than Coppinger, though. Chris Mannix. Now,
that's what I was about to say.
I'm driving home because I was on my way to go watch the fight. I didn't get home to the 10th round. So I'm watching the timeline to kind of see how the fight going.
Mm-hmm.
He's tweeting about basketball, so I know he didn't watch the fight. Then after the fight, he didn't watch the fight to the 7th round. Then after the fight, he talking about it was a bad scorecard. How you know? How do you know? You didn't even see the first six, 7 rounds. You in the same boat as me. That's like me getting on there talking about the score. You see, I ain't said nothing about the fight because I didn't watch it.
Hey, yo, man, who called about?
Oh, that was
earlier?
Lefty.
Huh?
Yeah, that was me.
They called him out.
Yep.
Like, bro, we could see you didn't watch the whole fight, or you was watching something else while the fight was coming on. How's you trying to come in here like Like it was like you could tell us as a robber you didn't watch it.
Like he watched every round closely.
Like he watched every
Meanwhile,
single round. Yo, I know that somebody else was talking about him, like saying, like, yo, you during the fights, he'll be on his phone.
I mean, even then, you can't watch two things at one time.
Yo, that was crazy. Son.
not close enough to score it.
Yeah,
No, not when, yeah.
but that was the thing, though, man. A good number of people, in the immediate reaction to this fight, were, talking about this scorecard and this 117-111 for Jermell Charlo. Now, for me, I had the fight for Brian Carlos Castano. Overall, I thought that he had a significant lead. At least through 7 rounds, probably going to the 8th. In that, it probably would have been like something like I did say, like immediately after the fight, that before the fight took place, I thought it was going to be a close fight for, Jermell Charlo, 7-5 for Jermell Charlo.
Well,
but
I'm gonna say something that y'all might find stupid or controversial, but I truly believe this. I don't think the 117-111 scorecard was that bad.
No comment. Like I said, I didn't watch the fight.
I just didn't see that many rounds for Jermell Charlo.
Well, because look at it this way.
The thing about it is
what happened in the fight though, JR? You had Charlo controlling and winning most of the round, and then at the end of some of these rounds, Brian Castano would have a little flurry to quote unquote steal the round. But what if, as a judge, you're judging this round as a whole 3 minutes? Are you gonna then say, oh, because he did good in the last 20 seconds or 30 seconds, that we should give him the round? Or are you gonna give credit to the guy that controlled the round for an entire 2.5 minutes? So I can see where a judge would give Charlo these rounds, these quote unquote swing rounds, where Castano just had flurries at the end of the round.
Well, is it that he had flurries at the end of the round, or was it that he was able to pursue Jermell Charlo and have him back up? Because the thing about it is that people kind of like score the fight on effective aggression. Was what Jermell Charlo doing by throwing the jab and backing up, on his back foot, was that effective? Did it like kind of halt what Castano was doing in those rounds? That's the overall discussion about it.
Well, I think
I just didn't feel like he was doing that.
I think what Jermell did actually got him to do, got Castano to do what he wanted him to do. Because if you think about it, where did Jermell have his most success? When he was countering Castano. So maybe being on the ropes was his strategy to bait Castano in to throw punches. And we saw him catch Castano quite a few times and hurt Castano coming off the ropes.
Well, I mean, yeah, he was able to do that in the second round. And I think, probably that next round after that, you kind of like seeing Castano be semi, timid as far as like going all the way in.
Castano averages 1,008 punches per fight. He only threw 86 punches, 586 punches for this fight. So whatever it was Charlo was doing, cut this man's volume down by almost 50%. So as a judge coming into the fight, knowing that this guy's a volume fighter, and all of a sudden he's not too eager to let his hands go like he usually do, does that not mean that Charlo is controlling the ring generalship? He's not implementing his game plan into effect?
Well, I mean, it just looks like, how you would kind of view it, though, because I would say that, with Castano, he was able to try to measure, what Charlo was doing and then react and kind of like counter effectively. Because, before, you were coming in, I said, I did not expect Castano to be as successful with the lead right hand like he was. And he was able to almost like land that nearly on a consistent basis over like, the next, after the second and third round, like for those next 5 rounds or so, he was like effectively landing that lead right hand. And I think that was, I felt like that was what was affecting, Jamel Charlo up to that particular point. Now, from a judge's perspective, or someone that's there, ringside, maybe you don't see it, how you see it, on television or on Showtime or something like that. But my thing is that yeah, you did have Jamel Charlo probably try to bait Brian Castano and was a little bit successful there in the second round, as he did get caught with a counter, and then he tried to blitz Castano, but Castano was able to like weather that a little bit and then keep himself composed and then keep to his game plan, which was try to measure where Charlo was going to be at, back him up, and then get what he could get in, but get it to where it's more effective. It didn't have to necessarily be a lot of activity, but as long as he was able to land and Charlo wasn't able to do so, then he felt like that was what was going to get him more successful in this particular point. So I felt like he made the adjustment initially after seeing what was happening there in the second round, to where he's like, you know what? Let me not go in there, all, balls to the wall like he usually do. Let me just see what he's going to do. And then I'm going to, block, counter, or come in with the lead right. And
Yeah,
that's what I saw him doing.
I thought Castano fought an excellent fight. If he would have got the decision, wouldn't have bothered me none. If Charlo would have got the decision, wouldn't have bothered me none. I think it was like that type of fight. And, I can't wait to see it again. But the question becomes, will we see it again?
Well, going from, what Jamel Charlo was saying, he's like, man, let me kind of, go by what I was saying or whatever it is.
Can we talk about that real quick?
But
can we talk about that real quick?
About Jamel Charlo, if it's something where it's a close fight and he wins, or if it's a draw, yeah. But there's also other things I wanted to talk about from a, quote unquote
Jamel
mandatory
Charlo,
perspective.
Yeah, that threw me off when he said that.
To me, Jamel Charlo showed why guys like the great Deontay Wilder are really the biggest gangsters in boxing. Okay, when Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder had that draw, and there were people out there that thought that Tyson Fury beat him, Deontay Wilder couldn't live with himself. He couldn't live with the fact there were people out there that thought he might have lost, that thought that this man might be better than him. So you know what he said immediately? We will run
said
this
I
back.
had to right my wrongs.
Exactly. Exactly.
Who was one of the main ones that told him, take the draw and move on?
You were.
Who?
You were.
No, Ward. Andre Ward.
Yeah. And it's funny. It's like these guys don't understand that sick level of competitiveness, because people just look at Deontay Wilder. Oh, well, he's not a traditional skilled boxer, so he's not sure he's garbage. No, Deontay Wilder wants all the fucking smoke, all the smoke. And to me, Jamel Charlo just showed that lion's only he's a little pup, a little cub, because Deontay Wilder would have immediately said, hey, we can run this back. Floyd Mayweather, when people thought that Castillo might have beat him, he ran it back. When people thought that Maidana might have beat him, he ran it back. There's just a different level of what I call Jordan competitiveness. that Isaiah Thomas, I'm a pit bull, I'm gonna rip your heart out competitiveness that guys like Deontay Wilder has, that Jamel Charlo just ain't got in him.
Man,
if you right there and you were one round away from becoming the first undisputed super welterweight champion of the world, and they ask you, do you want a rematch? Your response should be, we can go to the 13th round right now.
Exactly. And the best part was he got mad at Jim Gray. Jim Gray said, "What you say? You heard me. You heard
oh my god! Oh,
he said, "You heard me. Al Hammond, my manager. You heard me."
You were right there.
Guest on here, man.
You were knocking on greatness' door, and then just said,
2 steps away. He's like,
I don't know. I don't know. That was weird to me, man. That was very
could be my favorite.
I mentioned it that night. I mentioned it that night, and people was like, "Well, you got the WB, you got the IBF mandatory." This is which okay, but if you're a fighter, you're not thinking about I got these mandatories come up. You think about I should be the undisputed champion right now, and I want that.
Couldn't be Canelo. Couldn't be Wilder.
I got these mandatories that I have to fulfill. Oops, my bad. Let me.
You know who Jamel Charlo kind of reminds me of now? Triple G. That's what he reminds me of.
Hey, Brian Castano, he not good boy.
Yeah, he reminds me of Triple G. When Derevianchenko gave Triple G that work, where that rematch at? When Daniel Jacobs gave him some work, where that rematch at? I don't respect that. I don't respect that because that's the British way of doing business, taking your win and run. We don't do that here.
YSM, what's going on, man? I thought my boy Jay was checking in here, man. But I think he had to like pop in and pop out. I want him to see if he can come back in because you know what the next topic's gonna be after this.
We talking about
is that the dude that said he's an unbiased fan?
Nah. YSM, that's my man. That's Jamel. He's from Philly. He cool.
I thought that was a dude saying he was an unbiased fan. The NBA checked his page and ain't number Wilder slander on that motherfucker.
Oh no!
Well, that's how my man JR is. JR brings the Wilder haters because he's a Wilder hater himself.
I wonder what he said. I gotta go check his page.
Wait. What?
Page and see what he said about.
Hold on, real quick. How do I do that when I have the president and the vice president? Or is he still the vice president of the Deontay Wilder fan club?
No,
I don't know about all that.
We kicked Mike Grady out.
We here to keep y'all in check.
You kicked him out.
I think JR just has me on to have like the appearance of unbiasedness.
JR need to come on over to the Wilder side.
For real.
Tyson Fury, he moving funny in the light.
We gonna talk about that too, cause Matt, I heard what your boy was saying about what's going on with that fight. So we're gonna visit that here, in a little bit. But yeah, about like this whole thing with Jamel Charlo, like he don't want to run it back. And on the flip side, you got Brian Castano, like he's gonna be, kind of like stuck because it ain't like they naming a mandatory anytime soon because it won't be no Tim Zoo.
He ain't gonna be stuck because if anything, they'll pay him big money for that Tim Zoo fight, or if Terrence Crawford really wants to show us something, instead of fighting some garbage fight that we don't care about in October or November, exercise your rights as this long-time WBO champion and force them to name you the mandatory for Brian Castano. You telling me that if Top Rank gives Brian Castano $1.5, $2 million, that he wouldn't take that to fight Terrence Crawford?
I mean, I would say that, Castano would do that. Someone said for the rematch, Charlo should go to Argentina for the second fight. Yeah,
Man, ain't no money in
please.
Argentina, man. Y'all got to come up with stop these fantasies. Ain't no money in Argentina. If it
yeah,
was, Castano wouldn't be in America fighting.
Yeah, that's the
Exactly.
thing about it. They had to put it in San Antonio because
Yeah,
they
y'all gotta
couldn't put
understand.
it
All
in
them old
Houston.
fights back in the day when like Africa, Philippines, and shit like that, the government was funding them fighters, them fights.
Yeah,
that don't happen no more. You can't. The IMF won't even allow you to use their money to fund fights no more.
Yeah,
the
the
IMF, you can't
only
use it no
country
more.
still funding fights is Australia. That's it.
Yeah, Yep. Yeah, them days are gone and done with.
and Australia should have had that Lopez Cambosos fight funded, but we all see what happened there. You know what I'm saying? So there was that. But all right, since I got my boy coming right back in, I gotta get to the whole feature about one of the controversial figures around boxing boxing social media,
He a heavy hitter, baby.
Rollie Romero.
Let's go.
Rollie.
He fought a replacement opponent in Anthony Yiggit. Can you dig it, Yiggit? Who came into this bout at 140 pounds.
Anthony Yiggit. Don't forget that part. For y'all, people love the amateurs in the Olympics.
Oh yeah, he was some.
I mean, you got to respect the amateurs and Olympics. That's how dudes make their bones.
Yeah. So let's not forget that Rollie just beat a former Olympian.
Yeah, so he beat a former Olympian and Anthony. Can you dig it, Yiggit?
Yep.
He was in there and he was doing this thing, trying to use his footwork, and Yiggit to me was just off balance throughout the whole particular fight.
Of course,
it was
off
just
balance. He
looking
was getting
so
hit by
funny.
Rollie.
And
Hey JR, can I go as soon as you're done, man?
Yeah,
here we go.
yeah.
The Rollie hater.
Here, Rollie hater. Oh hell no!
I'll give YSM the opening statement here, but Rollie Romero gets that TKO victory, even though he had been throwing them bows like Luda, drop bows on him, pushing around a little bit. But still he was able to crack Anthony Yiggit, near the end of round 5. That's where he got a point deducted, and then seconds later he was able to knock down, Yiggit before the end of that round, and then just hit him with power shots to drop him in the 7th round, and so he gets that TKO victory. Has interim version of a lightweight title, and I mean it's Rollie Romero. Rollie Romero. So I'm gonna have YSM open, and then y'all can go after that.
Here we go. Let's hear it, Jamil.
All right, so the new cherry, so to speak, and I'm saying I don't want to be disrespectful, but is the guy with a good record, but you catch him on short notice off of a layoff, right? And that's what this was. Yiggit hadn't fought in 25 months. And they called him with a week's notice. You overpay him to make him take the fight. But Yiggit was definitely you can tell he's definitely a skilled opponent, and it was a good name for Rollie's resume. Rollie's ass, right? And I think everybody knows that Rollie's ass. Like Rollie is straight cheeks. But one thing is an absolute certainty, right? Rollie might arguably be the most important fighter in boxing. And when I say he's at least top 3, boxing needs Rollie.
Yes.
Boxing needs Caleb Plant. Boxing needs Deontay Wilder. Boxing needs Rollie Romero.
I don't know about Caleb Plant, but I got you on the other two.
You a Shakur Stevenson fan?
No, not really.
Okay.
I'm not a Shakur guy. The reason why boxing needs Caleb Plant is you need the white casual fan to be involved in boxing, and there's no white Americans that boxing can look towards that can accept Caleb Plant. Rollie's
He's
the
a winner.
villain, man. Rollie's the villain. He's a but how many of those are now like that? That's hip hop is popular culture now. So
True.
shouldn't like he's beyond Justin Timberlake. Like, he's probably more authentic than that. But yeah, Rollie's is.
Hey, did you watch that?
If you ever watched,
oh, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
Rollie's is a natural villain. You have two types of guys who are draws. But both of them affect fan bases emotionally. It's either positively or negatively. He left that ring, they were booing, throwing shit, and I'm sitting there like, this fucking guy's a superstar.
They got the only KO tonight.
He's a fucking
He's talking
superstar.
about-
Like if you like, this is some Hollywood Hogan, The Rock. You know the heel in wrestling. The heel is more important than the baby face.
Roddy Piper.
Ric Flair. You need a great heel to put up against your baby face. Otherwise, you're not
Yo,
gonna sell
shout out
shit.
to Paul Orndorff. Mr.
Rollie
Wonderful.
is
Shout
that
out to Paul
guy.
Orndorff.
Yeah, Rollie is that guy. Hulk Hogan didn't make half the money he made until he turned heel. His money shot through the roof. Rollie is that guy, man. Rollie. Boxing needs Rollie, man.
I know what you said. I mean, yo, I just can't forget that line. Yo, he said, Rollie Romero just has a face that you would just want to punch.
Yes, he does.
You know, everybody say that. Hey, but look, you talking about his choice of opponent. Yigit was a late replacement because Austin Delay pulled out. Second fight in a row where his opponent pulled out prior to the fight.
I'm not faulting him for that. I'm just recognizing what
he
actually is. I'm not trying to take nothing away from him. I'm not trying to take nothing away from him. That's the fact, though. I'm giving you facts. I'm not giving you.
That wasn't exactly a fact.
And both opponents came in overweight.
There you
at
go.
140.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
How do you expect
Listen,
somebody to make weight on a week's
Yigit
notice?
was already going to be on the undercard in a 135-pound fight. He was already scheduled to be on that card in a 135-pound fight. So how did he miss weight? Nobody knows because he was already supposed to be on the card.
I'll just put it this way. Usually in those type of fights, when it's an undercard, if it's for any type of title, if they announce it at a particular and they don't make weight, and they just say like, oh well, we'll just have it at another weight.
And
but when it's for a
that,
title, it's kind of different.
Man, he came in a welterweight, and Rollie.
I'm trying to tell you, it was cool. It wasn't an issue. It was cool. I had somebody covering the fight in San Antonio. It was cool. It wasn't like nah. So that's how I knew that what you saying might have some validity to it, but it wasn't an issue. So then that means he definitely had to be at least a late replacement if they don't care about the weight.
Hey, but look, I forgot what I was about to say, but I was watching some. Let me wax poetically for a second. I was watching some old Jack Johnson videos since everybody wanted to complain about Rollie using his elbows, and that's exactly how he was fighting. Y'all love the Queensberry rules, but hate when Rollie uses
it. Yo, Jack Johnson was using elbows, forearms, wrists, throwing people around. Better than Harry Grab.
Yeah, at least he used his head.
Hey, I don't know, man.
Rollie, you said Rollie fought better than who?
The Harry Grab.
Listen to me, man. Yo, we got to pay homage today.
Nah.
We looking at a potential superstar. We're looking at a potential superstar, bro.
Absolutely.
This dude is he's so irritating. He's so
But
irritating that
here's what we need from him, though. We need that little punk from Vegas to call up Dirt and Bone, call up his little daddy.
Oh no!
And sign up for KOs.
Oh no! Let me get before I even get into that.
That's what we need.
Another.
Wait,
I got two more guests here, man.
I didn't hear what he said. Who's he talking about?
He talking about Dev.
You hate, man, this dude, man. You hating on Dev?
Listen, I'm telling you right now, if you
The
put
Browns
Devin
got this
Haney
dude.
and Rollie Romero in the ring together, Rollie Romero is going to send Devin Haney to the upper room. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah, what you smoking right now, bro?
Yo, man,
What pack you on? What pack you on? You on that platinum? You smoking that Gary Payton? What you smoking right now? I need to know.
All right,
no, seriously.
Rollie got that. Rollie got that.
He
got an iron chin. He got a retard chin and a retard strength. The boy gonna be hard to stop.
Never beat the shit. Never beat that shit. Never beat the shit out that kid.
Dev ain't never beat the shit out of nobody.
Never beat the shit out that kid, yo.
I ain't never seen Dev beat the shit out of nobody.
But so he didn't do that to Abdullah. Sorry,
beat the shit out of Abdullah, bro. Come on, man. Come on.
Like you didn't see.
You
didn't see him crack. Oh my God, yo! Shout out to Terrell and Mike checking in, man. Like, yo, I'm telling you, man, Rollie Romero, they gonna build him up, yo. We probably might not need a Ryan Garcia to be a villain. He can't be a villain anyway. Too many people
Brown.
Like
that's Matt's new name, Mateo Brown.
Oh God!
I tell you what. So, Mr. Romero, I've been waiting for somebody to send him straight to hell. Now, Matt, I'll give you some credit in that statement that you made that he could potentially send Devin Haney to hell. Now, first of all, if they did fight, he's gonna have to make this an ugly, foul-filled fight, which Devin Haney has never had. That's the only way he's gonna be able to beat him, frustrate him, possibly hurt him somehow like that. That's the only way he's gonna do that, because we all know Devin fights extremely clean and fast, things like that. But Rollie, B level, at best. But you know what? Maximize your opportunities, maximize who you with, things like that. But I mean, he is incapable of fighting a totally clean fight with someone on the top level, whether it be Teofimo, Devin Haney, Loma, even on that top A line at 135. So he's going to muck it up, make it ugly, and that's how he gets his win. I mean, other than that, he's not a smooth, composed fighter at all. And with that said, he's a B-level fighter at best. At best.
Terrell. He's not good at boxing.
I was about to say he definitely a C-level at best.
He's not good at boxing. But God damn it, if he's not must-see TV. You know?
Ravishing Rollie Romero.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes!
Ravishing Rollie. Oh my God. Hey Mike, what's going on, yo?
Not much, man. Terrell, he's definitely C-level at best. He's not.
Bro,
he's not
like, come on, man.
One step above the C.
I'm
C plus.
I argue that too much. You know?
Give him a C plus.
Rollie is cheeks, yo. He is cheeks.
Everybody says that, but will your favorite fighters sign up for KOs? That's all I want to know.
It better not be no Shakur Stevenson fan saying that Rollie is cheeks.
See, but you, like, Matt, you saying that, but the Golden Boy you praise, Rollie was waxing his ass in sperm. So now what?
Yo, I'll see that fight too. I'll watch that fight. Listen,
I ain't talking about you seeing the fight. I'm saying why he ain't signing up to get his ass whipped. Go ahead.
it happens. What about
At the top of
didn't
135.
Devin Haney get his ass beat up in sparring, and Bill came up with a gun.
I'm done with this dude, man.
I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. Don't hurt my son. Like, come on, man. Get out of here with that. We talking about practice.
Bro.
Come on, man.
Not a game. Not a game. Not a game.
Mateo.
We're talking about practice.
Mateo Bodega Brown. That's his new name, man.
Oh gosh.
I hate this guy, man.
Hey, listen, man. They might as well just try to build him up because we know that I don't see him fighting somebody like a Michelle Rivera next. They'll probably see if they could get Austin Delay back up for him. See if they could, get him signed up for KOs, give him some money, and then have Romero in another fight where he could just, throw one or two punches at a time, bang, bang, and get another knockout.
Hold on.
Yeah, give me that sound effect again. Give me that sound effect.
I think y'all are underestimating this man's power. You see when he got the point taken away and he knocked Giga down the next sequence.
I mean, I'm not, saying that
he didn't even hit him flush. He hit his gloves, knocked the boy down.
Hey.
Now imagine him catching Haney, Ryan Garcia, or even Tank.
Hey, he said after the fight, he's like, I want to take Davis. I'm gonna knock him out.
Yo, y'all gonna stop laughing at Rollie. This is really pissing me off.
You know what? Rollie gonna end up surprising y'all ass and getting a surprise win over somebody y'all think he gonna lose to.
So tell me, where does Rollie fit in at 135? What kind of statement did he make? And granted, it was a late replacement, we know that. But what kind of statement did he make with this performance for 135?
I would like to see him fight, like he said, the Austin Delay fight. Give him a guy with a full cap, a guy about on the same level that y'all claim Rollie is C. So Delay is about a C level, and let's see.
And then after that, he could fight like an Isaac Cruz.
Yeah,
and then,
Isaac Cruz might have that IBF by then.
Yeah, yeah. The way that this whole thing with Lopez and Cambosos is going, then yeah, he might.
See, but here's gonna be the problem for Rollie. Okay, guys like Devin Haney and the fans and media won't call it out because they all feel the same way. They're gonna basically say that because Rollie is not traditionally skilled, that he's beneath Devin Haney, and Devin Haney shouldn't fight him. So Devin Haney is going to use it as an excuse to not sign up for that KO, and everyone is going to back him because of people like you, JR.
Wait a minute.
People like Mike Grady over here laughing at Rollie. You're laughing it all up. You guys are shooting down his credibility as an opponent, which is going to give these fighters the excuse not to fight him.
Listen, they don't need to fight him now. Let him have a few fights.
No,
and like we were saying at the beginning
we want Devin
here,
Haney right now.
But the thing about it with Devin Haney is this will probably be the fight that Devin Haney would probably want to get at this point. That's the highest, most lucrative he could probably get at this point. And that's the thing. We're trying to build up, Rollie Romero to be, like you said, ravishing Rollie Romero.
So Jay, you say that would be the path of least resistance for Devin at this point?
I don't think it would be like the path of least resistance, because for me the path of least resistance might be JoJo Diaz Jr.
Exactly. Rollie got a better chance against Devin than JoJo do. Rollie, JoJo's a fucking boxer, and Devin Haney could box his ass off. JoJo ain't got that power. Not at 135. JoJo started at 122. But Rollie knocking out a welterweight, knocked him down 3 times. Should have been 4 times. Ref should have never took that point away from him, by the way, because the ref didn't even break them up properly. Rollie just used a
He sure
veteran
didn't.
tactic. The ref is on one side, I hit you on the other side. We don't mind that when Bernard Hopkins do it. Rollie's smarter than y'all think, man. He was using real veteran tactics.
Rafael Ramos isn't used to that.
Doghouse,
Yeah.
doghouse. That was real doghouse rules. Doghouse boxing. No. I'm telling you, he's
Yeah.
gonna shock the world. The world is gonna shock the world, and I'm gonna be back here to tell y'all. I told y'all so.
I got a question for the panel. Why are we wasting all this time talking about Rollie Romero?
Because his stocks is high. All these Rollie Romero videos I'm seeing on YouTube, everybody talking about Rollie Romero. He gave you the only KO of the night. Rollie stocks is high.
Listen, man. Listen, I
He's
came
a
in
hot
there.
fighter. We got to talk
I
about
came
him.
in there to knock the guy out. I didn't get him out in the first round. You know, I know he's a southpaw, and I get southpaws out in the first round, but I ain't do it. But I still
Unless
knocked
y'all
him
want
out.
to talk about Shakur Stevenson last fight.
Nah, you're right. Let's talk about Rollie Romero. You're right.
Oh man. I might, revisit the thing for the main event here in a moment because we got more people in, but I wanted to get in that opening bout that they had in that car. I'm gonna call Vidal versus Emmanuel Aleem, and that was a fight. I'm sorry, that was a fight, man. I thought that Emmanuel Aleem kind of like fought a great fight up in those first few rounds. You had Coach Ronnie Shields saying box Vidal, and he was doing that for about a good amount of that fight. And then Vidal got to the inside, and Aleem was still game. He was like, you know what? You want to fight on the inside? I'll fight on the inside too. I don't care. And he was like landing some good shots, landed a few good uppercuts. But Vidal hit him with a good body shot, and like what was it, like the sixth round? I thought he was gonna go down, and he didn't go down. I was like, ooh, they really like scrapped for 10 rounds, man. And at the end of that fight, I was like, everybody in San Antonio that was in there should have been standing and giving them a rousing level of applause, man, because that was a great fight to me. Vidal got, 2 scores of 7 rounds to 3. I thought Aleem kind of like, edged it out probably 6-4, but I think it was probably more of like, they wanted to push Vidal maybe, but Emmanuel Aleem definitely gave a great effort there because he was able to box against somebody that was, much taller than him and had a better reach. And then when it came time to, get on the inside and scrap, he was, still out there doing his thing. So to me, I felt like that was the fight of the night because I thought there was like, very good action all the way through in that one though. But Matt, what did you think about that fight?
Oh, I thought that fight was excellent. I definitely think it was the fight of the night. I thought Aleem edged it out also, but I could see where you would give Vidal the fight because he did land the more significant punches. If you think about it, the fight played out very similar to the main event where you had Charlo landing the more significant punches, but it seemed like Castano boxed him better. I thought Aleem boxed better and did his thing, but the significant punches came from Vidal. Now, I also have a question for the panel. Not the whole panel, just Mike Grady.
Ooh.
Mike, what I'm about to ask you.
Ooh.
Did you watch the fights?
I was doing something else at the time, and I came and saw. I'm an honest person, man. I ain't got to lie. I don't know what I was doing, but I came at the end. And I saw like maybe the last 2 rounds.
Yo.
I knew he didn't watch it. I knew it.
I watched the whack ass Rollie Romero fight.
He
just
pulled
like
a
watching.
Chris Mannix. He pulled a Chris Mannix, yo.
They should have put the Rollie Romero fight first. Like, realistically, that should have been the first fight on the card.
Yo, at one point I was thinking that too. I was like, yo, since they had a replacement opponent, maybe they should have had that fight first. I don't know, man.
Hey, Rollie was the only KO of the night, though.
Hey, yep.
All KOs ain't good. All KOs ain't good KOs.
That's why he's not in the bomb squad now.
Wait, is that another requisite of being a part of the bomb squad? Is that you have to be a Rollie Romero fan too?
Hey, listen, Deontay Wilder is the original sign up for KOs. Okay, let's keep it real. That man don't get paid by the hour.
Yeah, but you can say that about other fighters too, though.
Nah,
like better BM.
Yeah, I guess you don't fight often enough for me.
Oh boy.
Well, I definitely think that Aleem should have got that decision too. I mean, a lot of times you think when there's a heralded fighter in a fight that you're watching, sometimes you want to turn the volume on just turn it off the volume because they're gonna talk up the guy, big him up, all this stuff. Oh yeah, he's boom, 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 and just sometimes you just gotta look at the fight just itself, no sound, right? And just for that to be a better judge, or who's getting who's you're saying your punches, who's doing what exactly. Because the thing about it, like you said, Jay, Aleem definitely fought him inside. The uppercut punch was a critical punch for him. I wish he could have actually hurt the Uruguay Queen a couple times. That would have been more telling, and definitely would have swayed that fight in this direction more. But he definitely did enough to take that win, even though that didn't go his way. But hopefully he'll be on the network again soon. He's a good solid fighter. I'll give him that. And he definitely didn't run. He got hurt to the body once or twice, but he didn't run. He held on like he's supposed to, got recovered, and got right back into the fight. But definitely a good ass fight. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I just felt like that was just a very, very good effort from Aleem in that joint. Like there were like times where I was like, yo, he definitely took, what he was getting in training and put it to use there from Ronnie Shields. You saw him like throw about 3 or 4 punch combos and then get away and either step to left and step to the right before Vidal could do anything. I was like, yo, he was definitely doing things by the book in that fight, and it was just a matter of seeing if he was going to tire out or if he was going to get caught by Vidal. And he did take some good shots from Vidal, but still was able to still be in there and through the 10th round and everything. So I was like, props off to him, man. That was just a great little scrap there, for him. And so big ups to him on that. I know that we got Terrell and Mike on here, and I know that at the very least that Mike, watched that Charlo Castano fight. So Terrell and then Mike, what did you think about that particular fight and who you felt got the upper hand in that one?
I mean, I think you guys already know. You probably feel the same way I did. Charlo lost that fight. Period. He lost the fight. And once again, what did I just say? A lot of times when you come to a fight, and this is a fight featuring 2 champions, right? But at the same time, we know the show was geared towards having Charlo win the fight and unifying the division, and that's how it was geared towards that. It was definitely positivity towards him. Nothing taken away from Castano, but and even myself before the fight, I looked at who's fought who. We know that Charles fought people, Jason Rosario, KO Erickson Lubin, first round KO, people like that. Takes and Trout. The list goes on. He has a resume behind him at 154. So like I said, everyone thought, oh, this is going to be Charles' win, but you know what? Castano definitely had something to say about it. He definitely made a statement. Round number 3, when he had Charlo against late in round number 3, had Charlo against the ropes. He could have knocked him down. That could have been a flat out knockdown, and the whole damn state of Texas would have went silent if that would have happened. So it's just crazy because like going to the late rounds, Ronnie, his trainer told him, "Hey, boom, you need a knockout," and Charlo responded to that. He did respond to that, but bottom line, that was definitely a clear win for Charlo, and that the judges. Wow, I don't know what the hell that one judge was thinking about. What was it, 117, 111? I think he called it. That was just absolutely crazy. But at this point now, what's next? Hoping that they can get a rematch because there will be a demand for that. Showtime can definitely air that, and people want to see that and tune into it. So, but that's what it is. Charlo definitely lost that fight.
Well, I mean, we might revisit something about a rematch here. There was something posted by a Mr. Matthew Brown about a rematch, but it would be part of something. But I want to get Mike's take on this fight here before I go into that.
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, the fans won. Imagining since I watched the fight, in my mind, what I saw happening was you started off the fight, and Castano definitely was trying to do what he needed to do to get it on the inside. Charlo was using his jab. And the thing about Charlo is that he doesn't have variation. It's like one speed, one approach as well. He doesn't have a lot of approaches. And I feel like his brother is a little bit more varied. But he just, like, don't get me wrong, he looks good when he throws a 1-2, but it's repetitive. And he did not do anything to show a different look, which is why all that Castano had to do was just literally keep a high guard. And Castano's body frame such that his arms were big enough, and his forearms were big enough to where he just was, like in the peekaboo position. And so Charlo didn't loop around. He didn't uppercut. All he did was 1-2, and then most of the 1s and 2s were caught by his arms. And so he didn't even jab to the body. Like, he did it sparingly, maybe in the beginning of some rounds, but like how he, with the other guy, Banana, I forgot his first name, but how he made a point to sort of, well, I don't think he jabbed to the body that much. He just caught him with an arid body shot, and then it took the wind out of him. But Charlo was very one-dimensional. It was like he was afraid to throw the gun, or something about Castano made him very reluctant to throw. And then you could see the confidence in him. You could see the confidence was sort of like the momentum was with Castano. And so, yeah, I didn't score the fight. I mean, I will say he jabbed most of the round. So while I didn't score the fight, I think Matt, even though he say stuff to just get like people's reactions, if you jabbing 2/3 of the round and somebody throw big shots at the end of the round, sure, it leaves it up to the judges to decide what they like. But it's like the Manny Pacquiao, what's the guy name with the round head? Manny Pacquiao, Tim Bradley syndrome. Tim Bradley was throwing so many shots, and then when Manny Pacquiao finally turned it on, like, what do you give? The man who threw more shots but lighter, or the man who threw bigger shots at the end of the round? One thing that I will say, when they got to the end of that fight, and you could see, Charlo was like, "Woo, glad that this fight is over with." And they asked him, "Hey, what you want to do? Do you want to do it again?" It wasn't a good look with the way he responded. I'm
gonna talk to Al.
Say it again.
He hit it with that. I'm gonna talk to Al Heyman.
My audio is tripping. Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Keep going, Mike. Just keep going, please.
What did he say? What did he say?
No, it's okay, Mike. Just keep going, please.
Okay. Yeah, so he just seemed very reluctant. Like when they were like, "Hey, do you want to run it again?" oh, my manager, it'll be what my manager says. Like it was like, oh, really? Like, come on, you right at the edge. Now the only thing you got to do is unify. I would hope that they go back to the drawing board and think of things to do to better repel that. Like one thing he could do obviously is throw uppercut. Other things is to vary his punches. Like only thing he did was just he did the same entrance. I forgot what fight we saw within the last 2 or 3 months where the guy didn't change his entrance and how he was doing. He was very repetitive in how he entered. Maybe it was David Haney. I'm not sure.
And I was Shakur Stevenson.
Wait, Mike.
Shakur.
Hey, Mike.
You're right. Yes, sir.
So, Mike, let me tell you this real quick. So, if we're lucky enough to get a second fight between these two, I think that Castano would be even less hesitant to this fight because at this point he knows Charlo's power. He knows his style. He's been with rounds. That said, yes, Castano got hurt a couple of times, but nothing major. You see what I'm saying? And I know that Charlo cannot handle that pressure style like we thought he could. He just was tentative at points, and the power was the power wasn't there like people would thought it would be. Like I said, I think second fight, Castano would definitely win make that win with just that pressure style, knowing what to stay away from the power, things like that. So I hope we do get it. And real quick, just a theory: what if Charlo did win, and we had Bud Crawford move up to 154 to fight for the debut? Is that possible, given the shit talking he did after the fight?
No, that's the chance of that happening is 0-0. That's not going to happen.
0 to negative.
Yeah, that'll never happen. That'll never happen. But I have a question for y'all. Like I said, I didn't see the fight. I didn't get home to the 10th round, so I didn't see the whole fight. But how much do y'all think Jamel's inactivity over the past 10 months played a role in it? Because I looked at the weigh-in, he didn't look, he didn't look that healthy. He's been out since September last year.
Since his win over Jason Rosario.
Yeah, that's a long time.
I don't know. I mean, he was talking about he was so confident in camp, working with, Derrick James and all that type of stuff. But, maybe he was kind of, trying to do some things to cut a lot of weight, in camp. Because sometimes, you kind of like see things once they do make weight, once they rehydrate, you see we kind of like we're at or around before they got to get into where their weight is. So I just felt like he looked a lot bigger than Brian Castano in this particular fight. And maybe, maybe Terrell, you got an order coming in. Yo.
But see, I got it because I saw the 10th round
like
when he hurt Castano in the 10th round, remember?
Which round?
The 10th round, he hurt Castano.
Yeah. But
so when he came out in the 11th round, he looked like he took the round off for most of the beginning of the round.
Yeah, kind of. I just felt like in that 10th round, I think it kind of like started in the 9th round when he was trying to get himself more towards the, center of the ring and try to be stationary when throwing the jab instead of like throwing the jab while stepping back. But once he like kind of was stationary or being more aggressive with the jab and coming forward with the jab, then he had, a much bigger advantage there against, Castano and kind of made Castano react a little bit more when he was doing that. And I thought that, that was something that he probably should have enforced at first to see how Castano would, do it. Because sometimes when you go up against a pressure fighter, you got to see how he does under pressure. Like, has he ever been on his back foot? And with Jermell Charlo being, the naturally bigger guy, I would have thought that he could have tried to press on him a little bit and tried to, have a little bit more activity there against, Castano.
I got a theory on that. So 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round, whenever he threw that big flurry, I question if he unloaded more from his tank, the Anthony Joshua syndrome, where he threw more to where he was very cautious and didn't want to leave himself to where he'd be on the island because he knew if Castano throwing 80, 100 punches around was going to be able to last 12 rounds. And so when he threw his load, I think that in the back of his mind, he was like, "Oh shit, I gotta make sure I got some left, before I get, drowned or whatever." One more thing I want to say too. Charlo, like Errol Spence, like Charlo, like other people who don't move their head, while he's good, if you are willing to step in the fire and get burnt to exploit that, the man is susceptible. All of them are. And you test their chin because the thing that was hindering him was he was getting hit with way too many shots. Even when he tried to roll, his head wasn't moving much. Like it was still like in the same vicinity. It wasn't really moving. Like he was dipping down and stuff, but his head was still in the same pitcher's box. And Castano just was throwing shots. Some of them was hard, some of them was medium, some of them was soft. But for the most part, he hit him quite a few times. That's no good. That's why he ain't trying to fight no more because he don't move his head.
Yeah, I mean, he was still on the line for a lot of the shots that Castano was throwing. That's why I was like, yo, like as many times as he was getting hit by a lead right hand, I was like, man, my goodness, is he going to be in some real trouble here in this fight? But it kind of like almost was similar to, like I said, with this second fight with Tony Harrison, to where, it looked like he was losing the fight, but he has that, power, or you see that he has power that he could, still be in any type of fight. Whether he could be down by a lot or he could be, ahead. He could still have that ability to, stop a fight, with his power. I just felt like, with his size, he would have been able to, try to change things and change courses and try to walk him down and then, have Castano very tired. But he didn't really make any type of adjustment until like I said, the 9th or 10th round there. So so that's how I kind of like saw it. But
that's actually a good point, James, because I think the Tony Harrison blueprint made Castano feel a lot more comfortable, which is if I throw a lot of shots at him, he shells up, because that's exactly what happens. Like when Tony Harrison was throwing shots, I started questioning, like, is the bully who, finally getting stood up to, and, then he ain't trading with people, ain't throwing shots,
Yeah, that's the thing. It was like he wasn't really as confident in himself when Tony Henderson was getting in and out of the pocket, jabbing, throwing combinations, and then getting away from the line. And so I just felt like the thing with Harrison was he just got himself within the range of Charlo way too often, and it pretty much cost him. And I think here with Castano was he was kind of like aware of what Charlo could do. So he was trying to be effective and efficient in that sense. So that's kind of like, how I thought that fight kind of like turned out there on Saturday. But as far as like, a rematch may be concerned, your guy, shout out to Mr. MVO here, Mr. Matthew Brown. He did say there, after the fight, he was like, yo, let's have this as an idea, right? Let's have a pay-per-view by Showtime on October 30th. And it'll be the second pay-per-view for Gervonta Tank Davis. He'll be the main event against Rollie Romero. And as a co-feature bout, you would have the rematch for the 154-pound titles of Charlo and Castano. So that was an idea thrown out by Matt here. He has also, as part of the card, Gary Antoine Russell against Subriel Matias at 140. That would be a really interesting fight there. And also around that 135, 140 pound range, interim champion Chris Colbert, who he says is who he's not necessarily a fan of, against Xavier Martinez, which could be for the WBA title if Gervonta Davis ends up giving up that 130-pound title. So that would be a 4-fight pay-per-view card, October 30th. Throwing out that idea there to be at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Of course, I would go to that. I would definitely go to that if they, set something up that like that, man. Maybe we need to give a call to, our guy there at Showtime, man, Steven Espinosa, be like, yo, let's put this as an idea, But that would probably be a very good card, though. It just depends on what they have as far as like what's left for pay-per-view. So I think Showtime could still be able to do it. It's just about, like what was raised earlier, are people going to be pay-per-viewed out by that particular time? Because, I mean, you got, this thing coming up here with Pacquiao and Spence. We still got to figure out what's going on with Canelo. We could be facing Caleb Plant, and that could be a Fox pay-per-view. And then maybe, just maybe, we will have that fight on October 9th, which I've already said what I said about it, but that would kind of like be like, how many more pay-per-views are you going to have, over the next few months? That's like within 3 months that you're going to have all of these pay-per-views. So I don't know.
I have a question.
Go ahead and shoot.
Did we talk about people faking, flogging, not really wanting to fight, wasting the hard-earned money and time of us boxing fans? Have we talked about that?
Nah, not yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. My bad, Jay. I'm sorry. Let me let you control your show. Excuse me.
Like, yo, like what would that kind of like entail? Like, where would your question like come from?
I mean, I expected a fight next week, I think. Was it this weekend?
Oh yeah, it was supposed to be this weekend. Yeah, someone on here mentioned it when they came on. They were saying that, there was supposed to be some type of glace type of thing that was supposed to happen. Someone was probably looking forward to a certain person subscribing to an OnlyFans page for 6 months, but now that's not gonna quite happen. So apparently it's going to be delayed until October 9th. And shout out to the one of the Don Perignon of boxing writers, Mr. Jake Donovan, who kind of like spoke on this a little bit earlier this week, and said that there were some different elements going on in reference to this. Number one, he did say that that Tyson Fury likely did have a positive COVID test, but he did also say this about the fight that was scheduled for this coming Saturday. He said that, even though the ticket sales they were doing pretty good, that he didn't really think that it was going to have that much success from the pay-per-view market, which I thought was interesting. Maybe kind of like said it, it being over the summer was some type of a factor. So with them kind of like moving it to October 9th, they would have, of course, the start of football season to promote Fox NFL, Fox College Football, that type of thing. And that, maybe they could get, more interest off of it, that it gets closer to those 800,000 pay-per-view buys.
When did Jake say this?
October. But he said on this other podcast called the Sunday Puncher.
The Southern Tea Podcast.
Sunday Puncher. Yes.
Oh, he said it first on Southern Tea Podcast. Okay. I didn't hear the Sunday Puncher yet.
Yeah. First of all,
I was trying to give Southern Tea because he was the first one.
We don't give no pub. We don't give no pub on this program. He
Bro.
said it on another podcast that shall not be named. Strike this from the record.
Southern T Boxing. Your boy MVO. Don't even try that.
Yo, what's going on here? Yo,
Hey, but look, how does that make sense? Okay. Pay-per-view sales, you can't really. You can gauge ticket sales because you're actually buying tickets before you get to the fight. Pay-per-view
Right.
sales, you can most pay-per-views are bought the day of the fight. Like within the first 4 or 5 hours of the fight is when most pay-per-view. So I don't know how you can gauge pay-per-view buy so early, a week and a half out. And secondly, from my understanding, Top Rank wants Fury in the ring ASAP. They don't trust him to delay a fight and show back. I mean, of course,
the other thing.
You know, it's like, of course they want him to do it, but they know how Fury is. They wouldn't do this just to make it. They want him in that ring ASAP,
right,
as soon as possible. They got a lot of money tied up in the Fury. They got a lot of money tied up in Fury that they need to get back.
Right.
I got a response to him.
Thing about it. And that's the thing about it with Tyson Fury and this whole thing with the delays and stuff. You know, some people want to talk about, you know, Top Rank doing this and Top Rank doing that, but bottom line is here when it comes to Top Rank and Tyson Fury and their co-promotional deal, he's supposed to have 2 fights left on that deal, and one of them is supposed to be this particular fight. And up to now, this is clearly the most lucrative fight that they have on the docket for Tyson Fury. So they made their investment into Tyson Fury for 5 fights. And okay, the first 2, we know what happened with the first 2. Listen, I had Tyson Fury here in Las Vegas for these 2 fights, and I had to do all of this stuff, and there wasn't hardly anybody in the arena. So now you had to have, you know, Wilder Fury 2, and we see what happened with Wilder Fury 2. And so next you have Fury Wilder 3, which is a much higher guarantee, and it gives a lot of that money that they invested pretty much back to them. So yeah, they definitely want this fight to happen because they definitely want that money back off their investment. And yeah, people know about Tyson Fury in his past and him, you know, having these whole things about what he did with Vladimir Klitschko and I think at one point with David Price. And so they're like, nah, we don't play that. You know, we don't play that around here. You're going to have to go in there and you're going to have to go fight. And so they're like, yo, he's going to have to fight. So yeah, there likely will be a fight October 9th. But like I said previously, I just didn't like it to be falling on that particular weekend, man. Of all the weekends, Terrell knows what I'm talking about. But
you know what's crazy about the Top Rank deal with Fury? When you think about it, they got to be losing so much money because they ain't even make $2 million at the gate with Fury in the non-Wilder fights.
Oh, not even close.
The Schwartz fights did $882,000, and the Wallin fight did $996,000 at the gate. Neither was on pay-per-view.
Right.
So,
and I bet you he blamed it on Terrence Crawford.
Yeah, probably. So it's like,
yeah, all that money could have been invested in getting Terrence Crawford some damn opponents.
Hey, I got a response to Lazy Lefty. So Lazy Lefty said, how can one predict pay-per-view sales? My response to you is, you obviously haven't heard Rick Glazer give his prediction on this show before to predict pay-per-view sales.
I'm very familiar with Rick Glazer, and I'm very familiar that he's full of it. But I understand what you're saying.
Gotcha.
Rick Glazer used to. Okay, let's just finish the conversation.
Yeah.
He got so bad at me the other day, he told me he gonna block me. Because I asked Rick Glazer, is there a possibility that Pacquiao can roll back the clock the way you used to roll back the odometers on them used cars you used to sell? He told me he was gonna block me.
Is that a reference for sticking needles in one's arm?
No.
Okay.
You know, Rick Blazer, he got arrested for rolling back
Oh,
odometers on cars back in the day.
Oh, damn.
Hold
Yeah,
on,
so
hold
I
on.
asked him, I said, can Spence roll back the clock the way you used to roll back the odometer on
Mike
cars? He
Grady.
wasn't like that.
Wow.
This is the second week in a row on this very program
Oh no!
that you tried to accuse the great, legendary 8-division, 5 lineal world champion Manny Pacquiao of using PEDs. If you got something to say, just say it.
Okay, I'll say it. Since you invited me to say it. Thank you for the floor. Have you noticed that Manny Pacquiao's calves has gotten a lot larger over the years? Have you noticed that?
Nah, I
You
don't look
haven't?
at men's legs.
But you look at big men bumping meat.
That's different. That's different.
Oh yeah, it's a whole lot different.
Okay. All you got to do is look at this man's legs. You know that he putting some up in there. Yes, Manny Pacquiao used to. Something was weird about Manny Pacquiao.
So, do you think
Remember,
that he may
folks,
potentially be on something
hold
for
on,
the
Matt.
Spence
Hold
fight?
on, Matt. Remember, folks, the views that are here on the Boxing Source do not directly reflect the direct views of the host of the Boxing Source. You remember that, folks.
So, Mike Grady, are you saying that he may be on something for the Spence fight?
What I'm saying is, Miguel Cotto said he got hit by what's my man name who like Razor Ramon, the Mexican dude who like Razor Ramon. What's his name?
Margarito?
Margarito. He said it felt like he got hit by bricks when Margarito hit him. All I know is Keith Thurman said when Manny Pacquiao hit him, he felt like he got hit with bricks. He said it felt like he had bricks in his hand. If they don't do the Olympic style drug testing, Manny Pacquiao will be very youthful. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, if it makes for a better fight, I'm all for it.
I agree. I think it'll make for a better fight. And hell, I want to see it. Yeah.
So Vada will or will not be directly involved in the testing protocols for this fight.
Jake said they were. He said they are testing.
Yeah, I thought they were. Yeah, I thought they were enrolled in Vada for this thing. So yeah, that's.
But then again, Keith was also more desperate for the fight than Spence was, so Keith couldn't dictate anything. Whereas Pacquiao had lost his belt, didn't have a fight scheduled, and Spence was the biggest fight on record for him. So Spence had a little bit more pull as to drug testing. You know what I'm saying?
Does anybody know the revenue split for this fight?
Nah.
Nope.
Does anybody care? Nope.
What I'm saying is it's in much in favor for Pacquiao, if I had to believe.
Yeah, I believe he's getting a higher revenue split. Yeah, I would believe that. It's the biggest fight for Spence at welterweight. So, yeah, I believe he would take a B-side revenue split to Pac.
This is the fight that could make Spence a superstar, if you think about it.
Yep.
Not according to
please don't say Rick Blazer.
No, not according to Terrence Crawford. My bad, I messed that one up. Not according to Terrence Crawford.
Who cares
what you mean?
He thinks?
Terrence Crawford will likely say, even if, because we're gonna say if without the Olympic style drug testing, even if Spence wins and gets another belt, he gonna say that Spence does not deserve, ain't the number one guy. That's what he gonna say.
Well, their latest statement is, come October, after they fight Zepeda and get their $4 million, he's leaving Top Rank and he's going to knock on Al's door and say, I want to make the fight. Now, already by leaving Top Rank, you're already cutting out the promoter split. So
Yep.
you ain't got to worry about the 50-50 as much as you would when you got a promoter. And
Yep.
you know, the fight will just get made. I don't think the split I think the split it won't be unfavorable to him, whatever is split. Even with a 60-40 split, it'll still be more than he would get.
Yes, he'll still get more out of it. He'll
than
still
if he
get
had
more
to
out of
promote.
it. It just hopefully once he leaves that particular deal that the fight could get made, or else somebody else might get blamed, according to one person that a few of us already know. But
What's crazy about it though is they're delaying Crawford's fight all the way to October.
Yeah,
Spencer's
that's crazy. That's like
August.
a whole year.
Yeah, they're so you're not going to get Spence Crawford in 2021. Whereas if he was fighting in September, it'd be a lot more. You could probably do it in December.
You probably could get him
So
right
now
back
you're probably
in the
looking
camp.
at February, March of next year.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna probably use the same tactic that they use against I forgot his name, but either you resign with us or we gonna hold this fight off and put your career on hold, on ice.
They can't do it if the contract it expires. There's no more they can do to extend this contract.
So it's not.
And
so
who's to
it's
say?
not-
And it's another thing. Who's to say Spence? Who's to say Top Rank wants to resign him? They don't have anybody for him to fight.
Look, man, this guy has been wasting my money. Man, I could have bought a whole bunch of houses, but I still gotta pay this guy. I mean, that's what Bob Arum says. But I feel like it's going to be real interesting for Top Rank by the end of this year because of one, because of this whole thing with Crawford, and two, how the whole thing with Teofimo Lopez is going to situate itself. But
or do you think after the Spence fight, do you think they would try to make if Crawford's fight still isn't officially announced after the Spence fight? Do you think Top Rank will make the push to make the Spence instead of Zepeda before Crawford leaves?
No.
That's the only fight they're gonna make some money off of.
There's no way that Terrence Crawford is gonna go into a Spence fight with over a year layoff. No way.
Nope. He's not going to do it. One, I don't think he's going to do it. And two, like, for me,
if they give him the money he's looking for.
Oh man, I don't know.
No way. Bomac won't allow that.
He's looking for. Whoop.
Did you hear all the excuses that Terrence Crawford been making about?
Because I'm trying to come up with an idea why they pushed it to October and why his is not announced. Since we,
I
don't think that they would do something like. Remember, what was it, about a month ago or a month and a half ago? There was one other fight that was suggested, but Bruce Trampler kind of shot that down. I don't think that's going to be revisited here in this particular instance for in October, because if it was, I think that they would have probably had the fight by September. Matt, you probably know which opponent they would have had for him for Crawford, but Bruce Trampler basically shot that down. So
Porter,
yes. So I don't think that they're going to set that up, because that would probably mean a higher guarantee for Crawford, much more than the $4 million at the very least. So my thing is, I don't know if they would put like something like a $5 million or more than $5 million guarantee for Crawford, and something like a 3 or 3.5 for Porter. But you remember they owe him
an extra $1 million for if they don't make the every year that they don't make the Spence fight, he gets paid $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're looking at $5 million to pay him to fight Zepeda.
So what happens if Manny Pacquiao wins this fight?
That's a good question.
Ooh.
That is a damn good question.
Hmm. Yeah, because the thing is, going for this fight, he doesn't have a belt. There'll be a vacant belt on the line. But that's a ring belt because they're gonna make it number one versus number three.
He
But
retires probably.
yeah, yeah, he probably retires. Yeah, I think that's what's gonna end up happening is he's gonna retire, and if he retires, then that's gonna you know have those belts out so vacant.
And he's
But
already talked about retiring. Anytime a guy talks about retiring before a fight,
yeah,
I don't really expect him to win.
he's gonna do that. It's like I enjoyed the fight. Jeff
He wants to run for
Spence.
president.
This is it. I'm done.
I
Great
think the
victory.
retirement talk is to help sell pay-per-view. Personally, I don't think he's really planning on retiring.
But win or lose, like especially if he loses, what's next?
If he loses, he'll have a farewell fight somewhere.
He can still go and fight a Mikey Garcia on pay-per-view and make some money with that.
No.
That
Nobody
is if
cares
he
about
loses.
that. He could go fight a
But
Conor
it's
McGregor.
Pacquiao.
He could do something in
could
the
happen.
Philippines, maybe. Or maybe they'll create another fight island, with McGregor after. But that's like it ain't gonna be for another 8 months for McGregor to, get back from that ankle break or whatever that was. So, hey, you know, but yeah, that's gonna be interesting there to see what happens from this Pacquiao Spence fight because. Yeah, Crawford. That wouldn't be a good move if Crawford was going to wait until that fight happens before that fight gets announced. I think that they got to make a move within the next couple of weeks to announce what he's going to do. Hopefully, it doesn't end up being a situation like Mikey Garcia, but I don't think it's going to be one of those similar situations, though. Where Mikey Garcia was held up for a long time before he could get out of the contract. That ain't going to happen there with Terrence Crawford. I don't think his team will kind of like allow that either. So that's that, man. But on that note, man, the only other things here that I got is that they had made those announcements for like August 14th. You're gonna have Virgil Ortiz Jr. going up against Egidijus Cavaliauskas, which is probably a good fight for him. So especially at this point of his career. So that's going to be good there at welterweight. And then they did announce that, Josh Warrington is going to have that rematch there against Mauricio Lara, where Mauricio Lara beat him down and knocked him out.
And he's gonna get sent to hell again. He's gonna get sent to hell again.
He's gonna get They go try to have a whole crowd there for Josh Warrington. I don't think Warrington could really hurt Lara. That was the thing. I was like, if he can't hurt Lara, it's gonna be a problem. And it's looking like that's gonna be the same thing here again. So those are two fights that are coming up here. That Lara Warrington rematch is gonna be September 4th. And that Ortiz versus Cavaliauskas is coming up August 14th. So that's what we got there so far. Like I said, that thing for Fury Wilder.
Rigondeaux.
Yeah, you got Rigondeaux there against Casemiro, of course. That's gonna be something. That's gonna be a real good fight. I'm definitely looking forward to that one. That's gonna have Gary Antonio also is going to be part of that card against Emmanuel Rodriguez in the bantamweight division, and also Rashay Warren against Damian Vasquez there. But I mean, that's a triple header. That Guillermo Rigondeaux is probably one of the few guys that Matt cares about that's under 147 pounds.
He's the man, and people are gonna realize that. And you know what's funny? A lot of people, when the fight was announced, were talking about how Castano was gonna beat him because Rigo's too old. Well, when you look at the betting odds, Rigo's actually the favorite. So I think the true people that know what's going on in the sport knows that Rigo should be the favorite, and Rigo's probably going to get the job done.
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a knockout.
I was about to say, I want to see him. I mean, I don't mean this like literally, but I'm just saying like hypothetically. I want to see him break somebody else's jaw, not literally, because he's like the jawbreaker, that type of thing.
It definitely could happen.
Yeah, it could. Definitely could. So that's pretty much like 4 weeks away. So gives us a good amount of time to kind of like see what's going on with that. At least we don't have to deal with the donaires when it comes to that fight date. So that's that. And supposedly, even though we feel like it's unlikely it's going to happen, they're going to try it again. Teofimo Lopez against George Kambosos. They're supposed to be on that date.
If it happens.
If it happens there. But, speaking of, the thing where we're supposed to be on Triller or whatnot, but speaking of that, August 3rd, man, Madison Square Garden. You're supposed to have Hunter Mike Wilson and that. What's supposed to be part of that?
Mike Hunter, man.
Yeah, it's Mike Hunter, but they have that, and they have what is this? Chris Algieri versus Mikel Lespierre, and a few other things going on. I was like, we probably gotta get it back on, man. We gotta get it back on the show. We gotta find a way to get him back on the show.
Let's get him back on after the fight to see if he actually got paid.
If that the dude who's supposedly knocked out Tyson Fury, or that's the other guy.
Who you talking about? Michael Hunter?
Oh, I guess it wasn't Michael Hunter. Jared Anderson.
No, you thinking Jared Anderson?
Nah, that's Jared Anderson.
Gotcha.
Nah, Jared. Nah, the thing with Jared is, as far as I know, they still are trying to have all that entire card moved to October 9th. At the very least, the fighters from the PBC side, all of those matches, they said that they're having them rescheduled to October 9th. So that thing for Jared Anderson, who's supposed to be fighting Vladimir Treskin, that was supposed to be on that card for Saturday, they said that might be moved to October 9th as well. But if I get anything else on that, then I will let y'all know through the social media avenues, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or whatnot. But with that being said,
let's get him on the show so he
that's what I
can
got.
confirm if that's the reason why Tyson Fury skipped out on this fight and deprived us hardworking fans of our time and money.
I'll see if I can work on that. I'll see if I can work on that for some time, maybe next week or something. But with that being said, that's this version of the Boxing Source Radio Show. Big ups to everybody that
That's all you got?
checked in. Yeah, man, that's all I got.
No
man.
announcement for when is Joshua versus Usyk going to be officially announced? We still waiting another week?
You're gonna have to ask Eddie Hearn on that.
Canelo was supposed to announce his fight last week. We waiting another week for that too?
We all know that is handled by Mr. Eddie Reynoso and not Mr. Eddie Hearn. So
okay, Oshaki Foster lost his court ruling against Lou DiBella, so they will not issue an injunction, so he cannot fight until he settles his case. Any thoughts on that?
Maybe we need to give a call to Matchroom to get all of that.
Hey, who can give me some credentials to that Jake Paul fight?
Man, I had
Hey,
to.
why don't you apply, JR?
Yeah,
And you
Cleveland
can send Lefty as like your auxiliary photographer.
as the auxiliary, auxiliary or
Well,
auxiliary
I'm gonna
media.
take pictures
So,
with my Android.
Nah, we
how
need
good is the
clear
Android?
pictures. Clear pictures,
They gotta drop
Lefty.
this motherfucker a couple times.
What you got? An LG? You got one of the
I
LG
got a
phones?
Samsung S8 and I don't know what this
Okay,
other one is.
maybe
Nigga,
the
I'm just
S8
trying to
can
get in
do.
there. The only picture you gonna get is some holes.
Listen, I could put you in this auxiliary media, man. If I could get Matt through on some of these things, I could get you through. Listen, just about everybody else on here at one point or another has been approved to be involved in a boxing event. So yeah, maybe I'll put in something and then see if I can get you out there.
Now,
Something
do
like
you
that.
have any thoughts on Tyson Fury asking Freddie Roach to help him to prepare for Wilder?
That was
For that
what was
bum,
that
for
within the
that
past
bum,
couple of days?
that bum Wilder that he could beat up in his sleep and all this bullshit.
Let me see, okay? I mean, you got to do this, okay? And then once you get in the ring there against Wilder, okay, you got to hit him with the hook, okay? We'll see how that whole thing turns out there, man. But shout out to Freddie Roach. There, like he's supposed to be involved with Manny Pacquiao and preparing for his fight against Errol Spence Jr. Of course, he was involved in the thing with who's our boy that knocked out the bully, Beck the Bully, Gabe Rosado.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Maybe I'll have something. Well, at least he didn't give a call to Chris Jericho. I mean,
Ben Davis.
Ben Davison.
Now, do you have a prediction for this Saturday's fight between Joe Joyce and Carlos Takam?
Joe Joyce.
It's the juggernaut.
5. What was that, Mike?
I tried to say it's the juggernaut.
Oh,
Bro, they're not even showing it on TV over here.
Nah, they're not. Nope. Mm-mm.
They should.
Yeah, they should.
He's a top 10 heavyweight.
Yep.
So they're not picking up no more of those BT cards since Aram got a deal with Sky.
Oh,
yeah.
You know what? That's a good fucking point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's supposed to start like I guess this week.
So they didn't have the one last week. They didn't have the one, even though it wasn't really nothing on it, but they ain't had none of them cards since that deal was announced.
Oh yeah, nah, they didn't have that. What was that? It was like a Friday or something. They had like a
they
card
used to just
Friday
throw them
or
on there,
Yeah, just to throw them on there, like on an ESPN Plus or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now,
Or,
what are your thoughts on Ivan Baranchik being announced as the opponent for Montana Love on the Jake Paul undercard?
Good fight.
Yeah, it's a good fight.
That's a good card. Period. That's
yeah. It was it. Charles Conwell's gonna be on there.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, it's definitely gonna be a good little thing. Leading up to that whole thing in there with Paul and because they kind of like built this up to be a pretty good setup there. Conwell versus Mark DeLuca. Amanda Serrano, of course. Amanda Serrano going on social media bragging about how much she's getting for this fight, and not having to be on OnlyFans.
Yeah, first of all, she lying. Ain't nobody asked her to start no OnlyFans.
Yeah, she cat, man. She's something else, but
she act like she's Estrada,
yeah,
or Raquel Miller. somebody like
Okay,
that,
but,
or Alicia Baumgardner. Yeah,
yeah, Alicia Ford. Yeah, yeah. Listen.
I got a question. Matt, funny. How much do y'all think that card should be worth?
what do you mean?
It's gonna cost $49. How much do you think it should be worth?
Oh, it's gonna be worth every penny.
Someone else other than Matt answer the question, please.
Look, I'm trying to get to the fight, so I'll pay for it if I have to. I mean, you know.
So y'all telling me it's worth paying $50 to see Jake Paul? What's the black dude MMA guy name
Versus
again?
Tyron Woodley. Listen.
I mean, why wouldn't it be worth that? Those are two big names.
People know Jake Paul. People know Tyron Woodley, and people will probably want to see Jake Paul get knocked out. You know, so as long as they want to see people or see him get knocked out, then yeah, they'll pay $49.99 for it. Why not?
I mean, it's all about what you value. You know, I mean, you as a boxing fan, you don't see the value in it because you're a boxing fan. But it's, you know, people that see the value in seeing Jake Paul fight, and they will pay that. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
Yeah. I'm trying to get to the fight. Motherfucker, I'm trying to be in that motherfucker. So you know I want to see it. I'm a boxing fan, but I also enjoy entertainment.
Yeah. So I'm gonna see if I could do some things on that. Actually, that's probably through Magnum Media, if I'm not mistaken, because this thing is handled by what is it? Swanson. So maybe I have to look through Swanson too. So I'll look that up and then see if I can get some information on trying to apply for those credentials there. But you know, with that being said, that's you know what I got here, man. This version of the Boxing Source Radio Show. There, big ups to everybody for checking in and all of that. You know, we had our good little sound bites about Rollie Romero. Of course, had a little bit of a interruption as some people wanted to get in the order for Taste by Terrell. He has he's out there making the latest dish. So y'all go ahead and see what his dish is that he had to make for order.
Let me check that out on Instagram.
Yeah, check that out on Instagram. Making all of us hungry. Yo, but on that note, like I say at the end of every show, folks, the point of boxing is to hit and not get hit. At least not like that. Not like how Charlo got hit by the lead right hand by Brian Castano.
It's fucked up.
But with that being said, man, I'm out.
Bomb squad, baby.
Bomb squad. To this day.
Oh gosh, now I have another person saying it. Good God.